Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm Mia, and in today's video we're going to be going over my current altar setup and some commonly asked questions about altars. So before I dive into my altar, let's go over some basics. So what is an altar? Essentially, an altar is a sacred place where you will keep your tools, put your offerings, and conduct your rituals. Your altar should be a place where you can get in the right headspace to conduct your spell work. It can be a place for reflection, calm, relaxation. I like to use it as a focal point for my practice, but also as a reflection of the seasons, and a place to store my tools and herbs should I need them. Altars are completely optional, so you don't even have to have one. You can share them with others. They can be anywhere you like. You can have multiple altars with different intentions, and they can be a range of different sizes, all the way from a travel size tin up to my big sideboard I have here. Now that we've gone over what the basics of an altar are, let's go over the types. So what types of altars are there? There are so many types of altars that it'd literally be impossible for me to say it all in this video, and this will vary based on religion, culture, tradition, practice, and personal preference. But to give some specific examples, you may be devoted to a specific deity, so you might want an altar focusing on them. You may also want to have an altar that reflects your home spirit. You can have one for money, and you can have one for your family as a whole, and you can have one for love. There's so many options. Because an altar is personal to you, the type or theme is just quite literally endless. But the most important thing to do is whatever brings you joy and connection within your craft. So to lead on to the next question, what can I put on my altar? Again, this is just all down to personal choice. So say if you want to have a deity altar, you might want to have symbols or statues to represent the god or goddess. You could have sentimental items from your ancestors or photos of them. You could have representations of the elements, crystals, dried herbs, seashells, incense, water, pens, tools, jewelry, ritual dishes, candles, seasonal items, offerings, pictures, and your book of shadows. Quite literally anything that makes you feel connected to your sacred space, that's what you should add. As a beginner witch, I know it can be difficult to come up with ideas, so I'll put on the screen some altar themes and inspiration if you need it. If you would like to, I have a free to join coven on Facebook and also one in the works on Discord. So if you want to see any of the altars that our coven members have made, or share your own or ask questions, feel free to join. It's completely free and it's super welcoming, and we're just a group of people helping each other grow on our spiritual journeys. That being said, let's jump into my altar tour.
Okay, so here is the full view of what the sideboard looks like from top to bottom. My nan gifted this to me a little over a year ago, and it's many decades old. I've been asked before where it's from, and unfortunately I don't know, but there are many antique or secondhand pieces out there. The main surfaces are what I would consider to be the altar itself, and the cupboards are just storage. So when I conduct rituals, this is where I do them. The main items on my altar typically stay the same, this being what it looks like the majority of the time, and then I change it up to align with the seasons, either with decorations, symbols, or other correspondences to a Sabbath or season. So first of all, I keep my book of shadows. It's super handy to have on the side if I need to reference anything or make any notes at all. I also like to keep some of my most meaningful or favourite crystals, some of which I use for spell work, but some I just simply love having around. I also have an offering bowl and a glass on another shelf for liquids. Having a dedicated bowl just for offerings to me feels more devoted. Next up, I have dried lavender. I find it very calming, but also lovely decoration at the same time. Then I have some candles. I like to do a lot of my rituals at night time, but not under intense overhead lighting. So I have some extra candles for ambient lighting that also helps me feel more in the zone to do spell work. I believe the candlesticks are from Temu. Next is incense. This is usually my go-to cleansing method. I also use the ash to make black salt, and I change the scent depending on what I'm looking for. And as you can see, some of the sticks are in a salt pot, so as the ash falls, I can just add that to my black salt. Then we have the wooden wheel of the year. This is an item that gets asked about a lot on my TikTok, and this is from Etsy. Mine is outdated, but I do keep it because the dates are on my calendar anyway, and it's a good reminder of the changes in the season and for any upcoming Sabbaths. I also have different waters behind that, so they are a bit protected from the sun in the corner there, but these are either collected or made depending on what I'm focusing on. In this picture, I have waterfall and full moon water. And finally, my ritual dish. This is from an antique store and I use this mainly because it's fireproof and protects the wood, but also because I like to have a dedicated plate for my spell work. With that said, let's move on to the other smaller areas. So as I mentioned before, this glass here is an offering glass for any liquid offerings I provide. Next to that I have a pestle and mortar, which is super helpful for grinding anything up. I also like to keep my jewellery in a little dish at the back. I like to sometimes set them on my windowsill on a full moon alongside my crystals to cleanse and charge them. Then behind all of that I have my visionary board, which needs updating, but it's so nice to have at standing height so that I can see it regularly. I also have some tea lights, which for the same reason as the candles, it's just ambient lighting. And to be honest, I kind of forget that they're there, so they don't really get used that much. On the top shelf I have an altar cleansing spray, which I use when I do an altar reset. I made the spray myself, which you can check out on my TikTok if you'd like. It's not necessarily a high strength cleaner, it's just for spiritual cleansing mainly. Next I have is a small bowl, which I use for spell work, such as cleansing items, like if I need to fully submerge something, because the pot is small but it's quite deep. Underneath that bowl is a wooden box, which will sound weird to some of you, but I have a dead butterfly in it. If you didn't know, you can use dead bugs for spell work, so I've began collecting some. And to the left of that is my money bowl. Again, I have a tutorial on how to make one of these. My bowl is round, so I find it helpful to keep it high and out of high traffic areas in case I knock it, because it has salt in it. And behind all of that I have a wooden pentacle, which I believe is from Etsy again. I decorate it alongside the seasons with dried flowers and leaves, which is a cute activity. It ties in seasonally, but I also like to have it at the top of everything as a symbol of protection. So that's the main altar areas done. I'll just briefly go through the storage I have, as some people like to know what else they can keep on or around their altar. So in the right cupboard I have all sorts of herbs or additives for spell work, and in the drawer below that I have paper and charcoal discs. I like to use coffee-infused paper for boosting manifestations, so that gets kept in there too. Then in the cupboard on the left I have a mix of items such as salts, divination tools, infused oils, and a headscarf which I have used for veiling in the past. And below that in the drawer I keep loads of matches and lighters. Since I do a ton of candle magic, it's helpful to have that not too far from where I conduct my rituals. Then on the bottom half I have candles and tea lights in the middle drawer. As I mentioned, I do a lot of candle magic, so easy to reach items are so convenient. On the right I have a candle snuffer, different types of incense, and a wooden block that I use when I'm dripping wax either onto a spell jar or to seal something. It saves me having to scrape any wax off of my ritual dish. And on the left I have miscellaneous items such as mini funnels, spoons, scooping tools, charms, drawstring bags, crystal chips, string, and so much more. And finally at the bottom I keep a mix of seasonal decorative items, a lot of which are from TK Maxx or The Range. And I also have my large cauldron, tools that I don't use as frequently, and any spare containers or bottles that I can reuse later. And that pretty much covers it.
Hopefully this video has given you lots of inspiration and covered the basics on creating your own altar. Thank you so much for watching this video. It really does mean the world to me. If you have any questions or any inspiration for witches on their journey, pop them in the comments of this video. I appreciate you, and until I see you next time, look after yourself, be kind to yourself, and thanks for watching.